Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Move podcast. This year's coverage of the 2022 Tour de France is brought to you by Ventum. Ventum bikes are designed, tested, and assembled in North America and delivered directly to your door. I rock both the NS1, which is their super sleek road bike, and frankly, the GS1, I think, is the best bike they make. That gravel bike they make is all you need. I mean, this thing is, I can't say enough about it. Special offer for our listeners, 10% off when you use the code WEDO at checkout. That's over at ventumracing.com/themove. Also, special feature they're going to start this year. They're going to have the Rider of the Day. So throughout the tour, 3 times a week, we'll be highlighting some of your favorite stories by featuring a Rider of the Day here on the Move. We're talking about you guys and gals. That's you. That's not riders from the tour. We're talking about you. So to get featured, make sure you're following both at Ventum Racing and at wedo.team on Instagram. Post a picture of yourself on Instagram and tell us what you love about riding. Why do you ride your bike? Use the hashtag Ventum Rider of the Day, and make sure you tag Ventum Racing and wedo.team on Instagram. Everybody who gets a shout out is registered to win a new frame, either an NS1 or a GS1. I'm joined by JB Hager. And a man who looks like he's on the men, Mr. George Hincapie. We're talking about, I don't know if we're calling it. Speaking of looks, and I'm happy to be here back in the studio with you guys here in Aspen. What in the world do you have going on your face right now? Well, I'm glad you asked, but for those listening, you got to check out the show on YouTube because you got to see this look. I always look at the equipment, and this is the time. The tour is when the big industry players release new frames, new wheels, new helmets, new technology, new skin suits. And I was just curious about this new look, the buff. Like these guys look like they had a buff under their helmet. So I'm in a hurry to get done with the show and get on a ride. So I thought I would do my own little aero buff and see if the show went quicker. But what do you think? How does it look? It looks horrible. I actually appreciate if you take it off. But we got to point out, the buff, we were all kind of like, what in the world is this? A lot of the specialized teams had it on. But the one specialized rider that didn't have it on and was the surprise rider of the day, Yves Lampaert. Yeah, I mean, it's worth noting he did not come from absolutely nowhere. He just finished second at the Belgian Championships time trial. Last year, he won the Belgian Championships, beating Remco Evenepoel. This year, losing to Remco. But speaking of time trials and stages, we also, as we have done in years past, our good friend Alain is giving us the correct pronunciations of these the towns. We're just a bunch of dumb rednecks, so we don't know how to say all these places. But we thought it would be cool that our other friend Brian Holm help us since we're in Denmark. So for now, let's cue up our good buddy Brian Holm to give us the correct pronunciation. I think this one probably not that hard. But maybe it is. Maybe they say it totally different.
Stage 1, Copenhagen.
Oh my God, Copenhagen. Did you?
We certainly.
What happened to Copenhagen?
Sound like that when we say it. That's for
Copenhagen.
And how do you know Brian Holm? What's the connection?
I raced with Brian. George raced with Brian. He was George's director. He's Brian's he's a great dude. Total character.
Coolest cat in cycling.
Yeah, he was never my director, but my sense was that having that guy behind the wheel of the car and dictating tactics, it seemed like he would be really.
Yeah, he's a big personality in Denmark as well. And we actually don't know if he's on site for directing Quick Step right now. We're actually doing TV, so he does both roles, and I'll reach out to him later see what exactly he's doing
the move, helping with the pronunciation of the move.
Helping with the move.
Today's show brought to you by Element. We talk about it all the time. It's this time of year, time to start sweating, start losing all the valuable minerals and vitamins in your body. I sweat more than most. It's a little embarrassing, truth be told. Element is my go-to hydration source. 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams of magnesium, no sugar, no gluten, no artificial BS. And by the way, if you don't like it, total money back guarantee. Just give it to a friend. No questions asked. Special offer for our listeners. If you head on over to drinklmnt.com/themove, a free sample pack, which includes every flavor. Give it a test. I think you'll love it. We hear from a lot of folks that have completely converted their hydration over to Element, which is cool to see. Again, that's drinklmnt.com/themove. Today's show also brought to you by Roca. Hello, my boys and girls down in Austin making absolutely the best eyewear out there. You get to be my age and you get to enjoy the entire spectrum of everything they make. I've worn sunglasses my whole racing career. You get to be an old fart. Then these things come into play. Those are the reading glasses. I'm now, for the record, last summer during the move, I was a 2.0. I am still a 2.0 on the readers. They absolutely make the best readers. Unbelievably lightweight. You'll literally forget that you're wearing them. The best optics on the market. They never slip no matter how sweaty Lance gets. And they are hand-built to order in my hometown of Austin, Texas. Head on over to roka.com. That's ROKA.com. 20% off for our listeners. Use the code THEMOVE for 20% off.
Roka, just a couple days ago, they were like, JB, do you want a new pair of prescription glasses?
Yeah.
And yesterday, the try-on kit showed up here in Aspen. 5 different pair to try on and see how
that models work for somebody else.
And it comes with return postage and
love it.
Easy.
Yeah. Now Rob and that crew, they built a great company. So listen, this is why they have to start the race. We can sit here and talk about Van Aert. We can talk about Ganna. We can talk about all these things. Nobody talked about. We just checked the odds for Johan and Spencer's show, either plus 5,000 or plus 10,000 on Yves Lampaert to win. Nobody. We were sort of like done. We were like, all right, let's head down to the studio. And then all of a sudden we started seeing the time checks and we're like, oh, wait a minute. What's going on here?
Yeah, not even nobody, not even himself. He even said in his interview that he had no idea how this happened. He was hoping for a top 10. That was his big goal of the day. And he was just in shock. And it's like, it's super cool to see that reaction for an established pro. He's been professional for 9 years, great career, one of the best helpers, lead out guys in the business. And for him to come out there and shock the world of cycling on the first stage of the Tour de France.
And get to wear yellow.
So, pretty amazing.
Listen, so many storylines, right? We were sitting here talking yesterday in the preview show about Patrick Lefevre not taking Mark Cavendish. We can go down
I'm
that
still
rabbit.
pissed about that.
I understand. Yeah. You could spend a lot of time being pissed about it and going down 100 different rabbit holes. Patrick Lefevre is sitting, I don't know, he's probably at some bar right now having just a stiff-ass cocktail going,
Yep.
Who's laughing now?
Who's hating now is what he's saying.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of cool stories. He is son of a farmer, and his best friend on the team is Tim de Klerk, who had to go home because of a COVID positive. So he said in his post-race interview, which was super sweet, I just wish I could have been here to celebrate with my best friend who had to go home.
So, the other thing that I thought was interesting in his post-race interview, and I'm sure you guys can relate to it at some point in your career, he's like, this isn't even going to sink in for a while. He's like, maybe a few days from now when I see my family or friends, and it's not real. It's not even real to him. It's such a story.
Well, what has changed with these time trials from our day is they put you in the quote unquote hot seat. In the old day, you set the best time, you go back to the bus, you hang out with your buddies, your teammates. Nobody's staring at you. Now they stick you in this hot seat and the camera is just on you, like either waiting for you to laugh or cry or acknowledge a good time or watch a guy come into the line that might beat your time. You saw what they had it squarely on Wout van Aert, and he's like counting down. And Lampert beat him, and he was like, you see his what he mumbles. He says chapeau.
I think it all comes down to this. You watch a couple of these other early guys. I know you don't like me mention his name, Bissinger, one of the favorites for the race.
I'm just glad I don't have to
crashes 2 times. So what happens? Everybody's in the bus. They're either warming up or they're watching the guys go to try to get the sense of how slick it is out there. They see Bissinger crash. What goes on to people's mind? I do not want to crash in the first stage of the Tour de France. Perhaps Yves Lampaert said, he even said in his interview, in every corner, he's like, you can go a little faster, you can go a little faster. So he really had a lot of confidence and faith in those tires, the air pressure they put in. And I truly believe that made a massive difference today with all those corners. For him to beat guys like Ganna, Wout van Aert, he was even shocked about it. So he clearly took those corners a lot faster than any of those guys, and it paid off.
And Lance, why don't you elaborate on something you brought up as we were watching? People from different countries are better at riding in the rain.
Look at the first page of the results. You have the top 12. This is just what's on this page, the top 12. And I just went, sort of, if you just roughly identify riders that grew up in countries that it rains more than the sun shines, right? We're talking Belgium, Holland, Denmark, Roglic and Pogacar growing up in Slovenia. I'm assuming it rained a lot there too. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of the top 12. I left Ghana out, assuming, Italy rains a little less. 11 of the top 12 grew up in climates. When they started riding bikes and racing bikes and learning to race and learning to position and learning to corner, they were doing it in the rain. Big difference.
I think anybody that's listening to the show, if you ride, you can relate. You're looking at the weather, deciding when to ride when it's not raining. These people, they'll go out regardless of the conditions.
They'll go out. And actually, they kind of sort of messed up a little bit in the sense that they put the top guys early on thinking they had the forecast figured out. But clearly, it rained hard in the beginning, and it sort of let up at the end. Now, I don't think that made a huge difference for Yves Lampert's ride because it still was very, very wet, although not pouring down rain, which Lance made a great point earlier that might affect visibility slightly. But, those later guys went definitely in drier conditions than the earlier guys.
Of course, he got the trick question at the post-race interview. Do you think, the rain letting up or lightening up was an advantage? I mean, what's he going to say? Yeah, it was a great advantage.
Yeah.
Too bad, so sad. Like, he still raced on super wet roads. He just didn't have that rain just pounding you in the face and the eyes, which, hey, whatever. 5 seconds is 5 seconds. Hell of a ride.
5 seconds over Wout van Aert and even more over Ghana. Incredible ride.
Yeah.
And I was surprised to see the GC contenders right up there. They aren't that far off, and that's a lot of risk.
That's a great point because the directors before that ride said, you better not crash. I don't care what happens today. All out on the straightaways. And those corners, I don't want to. They probably were like no risk whatsoever. So for these guys, so basically the top guys all finish in the top 10 still means that we got some. They're in some serious shape right now.
Yeah, if you're a GC guy, just getting to the finish line, staying on the bike, check the box. That's a win.
Yep.
Now, if you're Pogacar, Roglic, and Vingegaard, they leveled it up. The three of them didn't look like they were holding back, and if they were, then they are so unbelievably strong. Because they were right there at the front end of the race. But the one favorite who we talked about yesterday, who I do not think is a favorite, I'm a big fan of this guy, I just don't think he's a favorite, is Geraint Thomas. I cannot get my mind around the absent-mindedness. Did you catch this? That he was warming up in his vest, forgot to take it off, did the time trial in his vest. So there's all this talk about, $2,000, $5,000 skin suits. Homeboy forgets to take off the vest.
Well, some people pointed out that maybe he wasn't just trying to survive the prologue, but then in his interview, he's like, I actually forgot to take off the vest.
Right.
Wow.
Which, that's not great.
Those are nerves, and he's got too much experience to let something like that slip up.
It's the little details that add
Well, not
up.
only that, I mean, they have arguably the largest support staff in the business. I mean, somebody should have pointed that out. Like, bro, you got your vest on. Get that shit off right now.
But I just, again, back to the GC, I'm thinking about some of these guys, Pogacar, Vingegaard, anybody that's a great climber, they're all going to be duking it out. Why take so much risk over a few seconds here and there on the prologue? They're just animals.
I think they're.
I actually don't think they took risks.
No, I think they were comfortable. That's what I'm saying. If
they're just that good.
If they were being, quote unquote, cautious and still stayed that close to the front of the race, then we're in for some fireworks because they're that strong right now.
And I mean, don't forget, we're at the prologue of the Tour de France. Like guys like Vingegaard is Danish guy, home country. I mean, the adrenaline you have starting a prologue of the Tour de France, no matter where it is, it just takes, it's consuming. It takes everything over. So you're actually not thinking so much of like, well, should I slow down? But you're just going. You're excited to be there. You can't hear anything. The fans are screaming in your ear. You got the director screaming in your ear. So a lot of these times, they just have faith and trust in those tires that they're going to get through these corners.
By the way, nerves can cut both ways.
Yep.
I mean, you can get a little too amped up and overcook a corner. And I was surprised. And maybe they didn't show. I can count sort of 4 or 5 crashes out of 200 guys. Now, maybe we missed some on the television coverage. I would have expected with that course, looking as technical as it was, as many corners that it has. And by the way, some of these corners, remember we were watching, you're like, whoa, what was this? I mean, would they have to, but they got to put up padding all around the corner. This is a dangerous corner. I was surprised we didn't see more crashes.
Well, something that we didn't really discuss in our notes for this, but I got to bring up, we're talking crashing. George picked Bissinger to win. And this is worth revisiting because our preview show went out.
Eat that.
It went out pretty late last night, and people may have missed it.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
No, he should be sorry.
But George picked Bissinger. Lance said, if he wins and EF is in yellow, I will eat this little
metal toy of an Eiffel Tower
that's sitting on our desk.
I know.
So I know that.
But what you told me to share with everyone what you were telling me about their preparation and expectations.
They had this whole thing called Project Yellow for the prologue of the Tour de France. They put a lot of research, probably a lot of money into Bissinger winning this thing. So I know that it was a major focus of theirs. And hey, shit happens. It was a disaster run for them. Disaster run.
Let me know when you're done. I'm just glad I don't have to use a fucking Eiffel Tower thing. I was holding it up yesterday. I was like, damn, man, could I blend it? Could I do something with it? Like this
is it metal? Is it plastic?
This is going to suck if I have to eat this thing. Ugh. So we're done with that. Like that whole bet and dare is off.
That's over.
That's over.
Oh,
that's over.
Thank God.
All right. Tell me your guys' thoughts on all the GC guys. They all seem to be fit and ready. Well, and close.
Not only that, but today's battle was obviously won by Pogacar. I mean, what did he put 10 seconds on Roglic, or roughly right around there? I mean, that's a big time gap for 13, almost 14 kilometer
9
time
seconds.
trial. 9 seconds.
9 seconds and 8 seconds on Vingegaard.
Same time. I mean, maybe they weren't taking as many risks on the corners. It's a tight run. The team, obviously, the team battle was won by Jumbo. I mean, we had Lampert leading it was going faster than when Van Aert crashed. I mean, clearly they are on next level strength in terms of a team. So I'm still saying we're still on equal grounds, although Pogacar definitely won the individual battle today.
And I thought Adam Yates and Vlasov rode okay too.
Yep.
Especially Adam Yates. So
4th place in the Tour de France.
But Pogacar, I mean, anybody that thinks it's going to take something. So we all just not do the show for 3 weeks because we're guaranteeing that this kid's going to win, but it's going to take something bad to happen.
Not only that, but if you saw how relaxed he was at the start, he's just sitting there
laughing around.
Chatting.
He always looks happy.
Yeah.
He's just.
I wonder if he's really happy. I wonder if we should send in a shrink. Be
that's kind of mind-boggling because
how is that?
In no circumstance can I imagine starting a prologue at the Tour de France when it's raining and not having a little bit sense of nerves about I hope I make it through this next 15 kilometers without crashing.
Yeah. Hey, today's show also brought to you by HVMN. We talk about it all the time. If you're into fasting or exercise, this is a way to go. Especially if you're pushing your body, pushing all the metabolic limits. They have created nature's superfuel. These are ketones. HVMN launched the world's first drinkable ketone in 2017. Ketone IQ is right here, is their latest innovation on ketones with improved effectiveness, taste, and cost. Keep in mind, early days, this stuff was hard to get down and was extremely expensive. HVMN has remedied that. Delivers clean fuel. Over 60% of the peloton is consuming the ketone IQ. I mean, that just shows you that kind of speaks for itself. Yep. We've been playing around with it. I'm sort of holding off on the final week of the tour here before I really drop the hammer on George. But head on over to hvmn.com. Use the promo code THEMOVE20. Get you a few bottles of the ketone IQ. That's hvmn.com and use the promo code THEMOVE20, gets you 20% off. Last one of the day. Today's show brought to you by Dry Farm Wines. Fortunately for George, last night he consumed a lot less Dry Farm wine than he did the night before. For those who don't know, winemaking is a really complicated process, and some of the stats are alarming to me. 3 of the giant wine companies sell over 50% of the wine in the U.S., and they're also allowed to put up to 70 additives and preservatives into wine. Now along comes Dry Farm Wines. They have sourced biodynamic and organic wines that are sugar-free, lower in alcohol, organically biodynamically grown, additive-free, friendly to keto and paleo dieters. And Dry Farm means that there is no irrigation. So check this out. With no irrigation, it saves up to 1.4 billion gallons of water. That's pretty amazing. Also tested in their very own lab to make sure that they stick to all these high quality standards. We're doing a French box, so head on over to dryfarmwines.com/wedo. So they've sourced all biodynamic wines from France. We did it for the Tour of Italy. We'll do it for the Tour of Spain. But right now, I wonder if they sourced any in Denmark. Anyways, but special offer right now. head on over to dryfarmwines.com/we-do. Pick up the French box.
In yesterday's show, we didn't point out, and they didn't have a breakthrough.
You were a little rusty. That's why.
We were a little rusty coming in. They didn't have a breakthrough performance today, which we were not expecting. We got 5 Americans in the race this year, which is kind of cool in terms of compared to how we were in the last couple of years with 2 or maximum 3. So it'll be fun to watch Brandon McNulty, Matteo Jorgensen, who we got a really cool picture this morning from Cam.
His mom sent a nice email.
Yeah.
You signed an autograph for him when he was like a little kid.
I don't know if we have it queued up. We'll bust it out tomorrow.
He's got a signed LA jersey, which is awesome. So congrats to Matteo Jorgensen.
And his mom is listening to the show.
Yep. And then,
Mom, thank you so much for letting us know, because I have a tendency to sort of lose my filter and sort of flame anybody. Nobody is safe here.
Nobody is.
So, but your son will be safe. I promise, Mom. I don't want Mom driving her ass over here to Aspen and giving me a beat down with a boomstick.
6 Americans. I stand corrected. So, Matteo Jorgensen.
It was a rough birthday. That's okay.
Matteo
You've forgotten to count.
Brandon McNulty, Nielsen Paulus, Quinn Simmons, Kevin Vermaak, and
Sepp Kuss.
And Sepp Kuss.
Yep.
6 Americans. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. And not only that, but we've got Brandon McNulty, who's had an amazing season up till now. Sepp Kuss won arguably the Queen stage last year in the Tour. Nielsen Paulus won in San Sebastian. We got some quality Americans. Quinn Simmons is not even 20 years old.
Looks like he's 35.
The beard. It's the beard.
He needs a manscape. This guy is a hairy. He's like you. Are you going to shave that thing? Or this is more hair than we've seen.
Depends what our viewers want. If the viewers ask for it, I'll shave. If they don't, I'm going to keep the beard.
Which is kind of just counterintuitive for cycling, because like you said, you spend a fortune to make every inch of that bike and your apparel just as aero as possible, and then you rock a big beard. It just makes no sense.
You gotta get the look going.
Well, let's take a look at let's get into what stage 2 is going to look like. And you guys pointed out in the pre-show, when they get on that bridge and it gets windy, it could be pretty nasty.
We're excited about stage 2. I mean, this is going to be, we all know what the first few stages of the Tour de France is like. This thing is going to be, I believe, truly epic. It's not a flat stage either. We got a couple Category 4 climbs. There'll be guys going for Lance's favorite jersey, the KOM jersey, which is a big deal.
Boy,
we're along the coast for the majority of the day, and then we finish with an 18-kilometer bridge. I mean, this is it's never been raced over before. So, and especially in the Tour de France.
Yeah. Like I said, this is, we said yesterday.
And a lot of coastline.
We have the best team in the world for crosswinds with the yellow jersey. So they're going to be up there. They're going to have the right of way to be up in the front. They're going to want to cause damage. There's going to be fireworks tomorrow.
We don't know the key is you don't know what direction the wind is. You see that if you look at the map, this bridge that is just before the finish, basically, if I'm looking at this right, again, I don't really know how to look at a map, but looks like it's running east to west. So if you have a north wind or a south wind, it's just going to be pandemonium. But the rest of the course, the rest of the stage it's all over the country. I mean, there's coastline that's north and south. There's coastline that's northwest to southeast. I mean, it's going to be, and it's all open.
A lot of small roads open.
Now, no rain, if we're believing the current forecast, no rain, which these riders are probably thinking, thank God.
No.
But more importantly, wind. Maybe you guys could elaborate more on, of course they're going to be instructed to stay in the front because an echelon can only go so far across the road. Maybe elaborate more on that.
Did you see how many spectators there were today in the pouring rain?
Yeah.
They were 5 deep around the whole course.
But tomorrow won't be any spectators on the bridge, right?
There won't be spectators on the bridge, but you have 185 kilometers before that country, they're going to be 5 deep the whole way. It's terrible. It's great. It's a great look. It's great. It's awesome. People come out and support. I'm telling you, these riders are like, hey, can you people just go home? Like it's so again, and there we said it. Like somebody stands on the road. It could be a dog. It could be a stroller. It could be somebody with a sign. It could be somebody taking a selfie.
Back to your question, JP. The advantage right now goes to Jumbo and Quick-Step. These guys are specialists in the crosswind. Obviously, Pogacar has gotten second place in Tour de Flanders. The dude can handle himself in the wind. He probably doesn't even need a teammate. But in terms of who's got the most bodies for crosswind type riding, Jumbo is the best in the world, as is Quick-Step. So we will see those guys near the front. And
do you expect them to go on the offense?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's the only way to go. They got to go on the offense. I mean, And then you have your kind of sort of stragglers. Like when we wouldn't have a strong crosswind team, you would know as soon as you saw the orange Rabobank guys in the front.
Look,
no matter what was happening, you need to go there because something was probably about to happen.
Tomorrow is a race day.
Yep.
The day after is a race. Every day for the first 5 or 6 days is a race day. After we get past stage 5, stage 6, those aren't race days. You're just sort of conserve mode, stay out of trouble. For the first week, they are racing every single day. You better be paying attention every minute of every stage.
Well, if you look at all the predictions, they're all the top sprinters. But this chaos you're talking about, those sprinters have to be in that front group to be a part of it.
But
they're trained.
They're better at that.
Yeah,
right? Those sprinters can do that in their sleep versus a GC guy. I mean, you think about all the GC guys. I mean, whether it's Adam Yates or even go down the list, Nara Quintana, or it's so stressful for them.
They don't look forward to a day like that.
Yeah.
And just sort of reflecting on our history, I mean, I knew it was stressful for me, and I was a bigger GC guy, bigger in terms of size, but I knew I had George, I had Eki, I had Pavel, I had these guys. I was like, no, just put me in the right spot. Some of these guys don't have. If you have those 3 guys, it makes a world of difference.
But and even if you have a good team and it is a true crosswind echelon section, even the guy like Lance has to go up there and do his turns, because what will happen? He'll get stuck in the back, get squeezed off, and get stuck in the gutter, and poof, seeing the douches.
I got no problem doing that.
So,
I had no problem.
He had no problem doing
you
that.
Motherfuckers want me to pull? Watch this. I'll pull. Just I don't want to have to fight for position. But once we're in that moment where TV's right there and I look like I made it happen, I'll fucking pull.
So the one weakness is
like, let me pull through. The cameras are here.
we haven't seen very many moments of non-concentrated moments from Pogacar, but he did lose a minute a couple of years ago in that crosswind section. I doubt we'll see that tomorrow, but the other teams are going to remember that and think maybe this is a chance to get a quick few seconds over him, and they're going to do whatever they can to get that done.
All right.
Do you guys think it will stay together or split? You seem to think it's going to split.
I would be shocked if it's if it's bigger than a group of 40, 50 riders. I would be shocked. It means the wins weren't as drastic as we thought they could have been.
I can't wait to. If you think that, I cannot wait to wake up and watch this. that means that.
What do you think? You think full peloton?
No, no way, no. But the wind will make all the difference. I mean, if it's windy, there'll be bodies everywhere.
Yeah,
which sucks for them.
So
good for us?
Who's the pick? Who's your pick?
I don't know. I mean, this Wout van Aert, you can't. The guy never.
I was going to go there.
I don't know how. I mean, you could pick any of the handful of top sprinters. He can sprint, and he will get to the end of the stage just fresher than them.
Exactly right.
And I'm not betting against. You'd be crazy to bet against him.
Because, like we were mentioning, if it's a smaller group, and there are in fact strong crosswinds, these sprinters are actually also going to have to rotate through it to not get squeezed out. So, whose advantage does that go to? Wout van Aert, because he could perhaps arrive with a few more matches.
And if it does come down to a bunch sprint, I think it's good to remind people about Fabio Jakobsen and what he's been through. He is the favorite.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
We pulled up a crash that he had 8 months ago in Tour of Poland, and it was probably the worst crash I've ever seen in cycling. Straight into barricades at 45 miles an hour. Broke his jaw in several places. Had to get reconstruction surgery on his face. It was a disaster. Yeah. And for him to be back at this top level is very impressive to see.
If you have a bad stomach, don't watch that highlight reel.
Yeah,
but that would be a hell of a story. Hard to not cheer for that one.
Absolutely.
So, nonetheless, it's going to be eventful. Can't wait.
I do have a few emails if you guys are down for that.
Okay.
All right.
You up.
All right. Hey, guys, longtime listener, love the show. As an avid mountain biker, I have to know, is this the year that someone wins a stage using a dropper post? We obviously saw Mohoric win Milan San Remo with an unreal descent. So is this the year we see it in the Tour? That's from Luke in Atlanta.
I don't know if we'll see somebody win a stage with a dropper post. I think we'll see some droppers.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't.
Have you got any intel that more people are using it since that event?
Since San Remo, no.
It's been a little quiet since then.
Yep.
Now, this is a really, really random email, and so stick with me on this because at first it's not going to make sense, right?
Okay.
It says, hey guys, love the show. Very excited for the next 3 weeks of racing. Had a question as it relates to what's going on in golf and if there could be a parallel in cycling. I've got your attention now, don't I?
You do. I know where you're going with this.
Could you ever see the Saudis throwing a bunch of money at the top names and teams in cycling and creating their own cycling league?
They already have. UAE and
no, a whole different league.
A whole league.
I know.
Teams and riders would break away from UCI, have better paydays, better benefits, less demanding race schedule, etc. No restrictions on weight limits on bikes. New tech could really change things.
Yep. That's not going to happen. It has not gone as planned for the Live Golf Tour. Now, cycling should be so lucky that would even be a possibility. The reason it's happening in golf is because golf has become a really, really big sport. The amount of money that these guys and gals are making, the amount of media attention. I mean, every weekend here in the United States, it is on primetime television. Golf is a major sport, so it's easy pickings. You say, well, you take a renegade like Greg Norman says, well, I'm going to go get some, hundreds and hundreds, maybe $1 billion from the Saudis. I'm going to create a breakaway league. Now, there's not a lot of incentive to do that in cycling, right? Cycling should aim to get to a place where that is even a possibility. And if it ever got to that place, it's a bad idea. It would be very, very difficult. Keep in mind, the Live Golf Tour versus the PGA Tour, they're playing on private golf courses or semi-private golf courses that are 400 acres. You can't go if you said we're going to do a spin-off league and we're going to do a second version of Tour de France, the French government would never give you the access to the roads, nor would Italy, nor would Spain, nor would any of these countries. So it's kind of a non-starter there. If the game was played, if we were talking about track cycling, yeah, maybe you could do that. That's the equivalent of a golf course. It is a contained venue that you could find anywhere. But you're not going to go get public roads and open roads for a breakaway tour. But cycling should aim to get to a point where there is that much money. I hate to keep talking about money here, but that's what we're talking about. Get to a point where there's that much on the line that people go, hey, look it over here, and start enticing guys with money. That's all they've done with the Live Golf Tour, which, by the way, I don't get me started.
That's a whole other show, right? That was from Nate in Fort Wayne.
That's a
Indiana,
great question. Yeah, thank you, Nate. Nate, any other golf questions you have the next 3 weeks, please send them along. By the way, where is Joe Natale? Has Joe retired? Joe, if you're listening, and just a reminder for our listener, Joe comes up with these. He recreates like all this I don't know, this stuff like movie posters and fucking Starsky and Hutch, whatever. And Joe, it's been a minute. I mean, we're here. Here we are. The move is back. We need you, buddy.
I got 2 corrections I got to make on my past comments on today's show. And
He's still recovering from the birthday.
I apologize.
Okay.
One was Johan pointed out that Pogacar did not get dropped on that stage that he lost time in the crosswinds. He actually got a flat tire.
Okay.
So there wasn't a ding in the armor like we suggested. And there are 7 Americans. We forgot about Joe Dombrowski. So actually kind of cool. 7 Americans.
Hey, nice.
Most in a decade, is what I've heard.
Awesome.
And Joe Natale's coming. The heat's coming.
Oh, yes.
Bring it, Joe.
One more email here real quick. You often talk about riders having to conserve effort because they only have a certain number of matches to burn in the race. What does burning a match burn? Is it their mental effort or state of mind, literal micro-tearing of muscles, depletion of long-term glycogen stores, or what? What is the reason you only have a certain number of matches to burn? From Eric in St. Paul.
I always refer to it in physical sense. Now, I'm sure there are guys that just crack mentally under the pressure of a 3-week race. But I always, when I'm talking about it, I mean like a day where you just use way too much energy and effort to really gain nothing, right? I mean, it's one thing to burn a match and gain a minute or 2 minutes or whatever, but there are a lot of days you burn a ton of matches and you look at the GC at the end of the day and you're like, I didn't get anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to go... You want to go 110% to try to get a stage win or try to get a podium, a massive result, something that would be huge for you personally and for your team. But, you see guys going 110% to getting 30th place on a mountain stage. They're like, why would you do that and not try to get a better result on the next day and recover that day?
Yep. Awesome.
All right. If you have a question or comment for us, send it to TheMove@WeDo.team. Today, JB Squared coming back. You'll get to hear more in-depth analysis from Johan.
Try not to keep Johan up too late because he gets all cranky with us when you do.
And then, of course, La Movida. We have a lot of people that like to listen to both shows, English and Spanish.
And outcomes for our members. If you want to place some bets on cycling, again, we're not telling people to bet, but if you are going to take that risk, get beamed up, get educated, we got two of the smartest guys out there when it comes to the data of cycling. The data of, by the way, I don't think they got today right, but not many people did, if they did at all. But that outcomes is available for members only of We Do members.
And then you get all the other member benefits, everything else with season pass.
You get to, like the pre-show where it's live to members, and like George gets up and says, I have to go to the bathroom, and he's gone for 7 minutes. You get that. Like you're just like, George's going number 2.
That's look for season pass at WeDo.team to sign up for that.
Thanks for tuning in. See y'all tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.